one.
Salutations.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, TV Land.
Welcome to Talking About Werewolves.
Oh, I like how it looks like somebody's watching with a microphone for a head.
To clarify what's happening tonight, first of all, I'm Brian Murphy, ANST Apocalypse. Next to me is Bucky. Bucky is on a lot of painkillers. We're going to assume that's all going to work out
Just
for the
one
best.
really strong one.
And with me also, so if he laughs, we can't let him laugh. That'll be funny.
Oh, that's going to be great.
Also with us is Iggy.
I am actually the man with no name.
Really?
No.
Oh.
How are we coming in video and sound wise?
Looks like we're good. Stream health looks strong. Yep, we're good.
Echo or just me? No, that's just the deep, sensual power of my voice.
No, I think you're right. There's double audio. There we go. Now we should not be echoing.
I'm still echoing with the deep sexual power of my voice.
Echo should be off now. Maybe. We good? I think we're good.
Wait, which mic did you mute?
What? We're good. We're good.
Okay.
It's double audio.
Fixed. Thank you.
Okay.
Yep. We had double audio. Now it is fixed. You're welcome. It's been a lively couple of weeks, I see. A lot of things have been happening. It's kind of cool to see the world start happening all around us. So we're going to open up by, I don't know, how's your week been?
I was on vacation, actually, and my mother came to see me, and that means I didn't see my mother or my child because they ran off. I assumed some spells were cast. She denies she's a witch. I don't buy it. That's basically my week.
That's good. How you doing, Buck?
It's been rough. An old injury has reared its ugly head again, and I am in searing amounts of agony. But I have a vast collection of old injuries from an interesting life well lived. So,
well put.
Well, could you pass me any? Is there anything left in my Wendy's bag?
Your bag?
Yeah, my Wendy's bag. The fries, perhaps.
Oh yes,
pass me my fries.
Here's your
Thanks.
fries. Here are your fries.
Thank you.
Enjoy those. All right, so let me walk you through what we're going to talk about tonight. By request, a bit of an itinerary. We're going to open up by talking about Gnawers strategy, playing a Gnawer, and what a Gnawer build might look like.
Originally, we were going to do Gnawers and Ratkin, and I said those are the same thing.
Which I thought was cold. So we're going to do Nuwisha instead, which I still think are very interesting. Then we're going to have an out-of-character segment where we talk about being a better community.
Or role player. It's going to be an ongoing segment.
Yeah. We're going to open up this one talking a little bit about just... How do you want to put it? Not being assholes?
I think that's too negative a spin. And when I say something's too negative a spin, that's crazy pants.
Cup as well.
I will bring you a cup in a second.
Yeah.
I think it's instead of trying not to be bad, I think this is an opportunity to actually ask the audience and come up with ideas and brainstorm ourselves on how to be good to each other.
That's awesome.
Yeah, well, I think much like one of the articles that you shared on the MES werewolf thing, well,
I was drunk. I don't know what I shared.
I dink meme posts so often. It's hard for me to keep up.
Mostly about cannibalism.
Right. But I saw that and I was like, there's a lot to discuss. All of these points. Some are very good. Some are really mixed. Some are like
definitively bad.
Definitively bad. And just false. Just not true. But one of them definitely sprung out.
We're gonna come back to that.
We'll get to that later.
And then finally, we're gonna close out with some discussion about what's going on in the IC world and what we're seeing happening live. And I think that's gonna be fun. But let's open up by talking about the Gnawers.
You hear me roar?
Huh?
Sorry.
Let's talk about some Gnawers.
All right, tell me about them. Merits. Put them up on the screen. Let's read on the screen.
Okay. I wasn't ready for that at all.
Why were you not ready for that, Brian?
I didn't expect that. We haven't been doing stuff on video lately.
So I thought we were going to do alphabetical.
It went BSDs for some reason.
Well, no, because we never talked about BSDs.
I was fine with that.
But even
Dead air.
Yeah, I guess it would be reversed with Black Furies.
I would listen. The day we do Black Fury, we don't need a Farah tribe, a Farah breed. I can just talk about Black Furies for 2 hours.
I know. I can say confidently we're all big fans of the amount.
I was the first one to be a fan of the Furies.
I think that you jumped on the. I'm sorry. You clued into the fact that they had the best written tribe book. Maybe second was Strider's, which didn't give them a lot of powers, but definitely was well written. Back and revised. And then they were improved further in this system. But we're not talking about them yet. We're talking about Gnawers, which are, like many of the other tribes, less racist than they were.
Well put. Well put.
Well, no, this is a reference to a werewolf group that both me and Bucky are on. That is not an MES group. It was a werewolf group where a lot of the they were mentioning Gnawer heroes, and like there seemed to be a common quasi-racist respectability politics theme. It's like,
well, I wasn't even just specifically talking. I meant that their tribal flaw is no longer. You can't trust them with money. They'll just spend it on shoes.
Yeah.
And guns and gang paraphernalia. Like, that's not okay.
In the thread we were talking about, it just got very respectability politics. So, John Henry was a Gnawer army. Why? Well, because he was
working class.
He's working class. Like, he's a dazzling urbanite. No, that was enough of that. So
I think one thing to keep in mind with the Gnawers is it is tempting to play them. We're talking from the perspective of someone playing a Gnawer. It's very easy to play them silly and go for comic relief. Like, even as the book says, their rituals rely strongly on mainstream media and mass culture. However, the Gnawers take them seriously and use their rights to honor the spirits of the urban world. And that's an important thing to keep in mind, is that they do take this stuff seriously. They're not a joke tribe. They're deadly serious.
Well, one of the things that, and I will say, it's weird quoting Iggy because he's right here, but
I'm fine with it.
The distinction that they have is that they're trying to bring wild into the Weaver. Like, they bring that that chaotic energy, that wildness, that part of the triad into the static realm of cities, and keep cities wild and having multiple levels of city-based and urban ecosystems and things like that. And that's a very complicated theme. It's one of the reasons why I don't think they actually analogize well with things like the Glasswalkers or the Ratkin.
No, yeah.
I mean, the Gnawers suffer from the same everybody who's poor likes each other and they all meet in the sewer system of the World of Darkness, as if there's just like turnstiles and like Slua wave to their Nosferatu buddies as a Ratkin shuffles by and is like, gotta go to work.
You said Slua, I'm happy now.
Right, and there's just, and I feel like they have the sort of Warner Brothers old cartoon where, the wolf and the sheepdog both punch in. Like, they're meta aware that this
Morning,
is...
Fred. Morning, Sam.
Right, and that this is patently ridiculous. There's no reason any of these people should suffer each other's presences, let alone all live together in some weird underground utopia. But, the writers tended to want to lump things into groups, so that's what happens. But their theme is a different theme, and this was brought up, when we talked about BSDs. Mm-hmm. Their goals are not Pentex's goals. Their goals are not the Sabat's goals. Just because they're bad guys doesn't mean they actually have the same end games.
And in regards to Gnawers, I played a Gnawer for a while, and I will not bore you with a story, but the thing I always posit about the Gnawers is, okay, when you're a werewolf, right? So you got wild, you have weaver, you have worm.
Right.
Cities are bastions of weaver / worm stuff. Very little wild, right? So it's essentially enemy territory.
Yes.
It's just enemy territory if you're a wild creature. Mm-hmm. Now, who do you send behind enemy lines? Do you send your jokes? Do you send the guys who are bad at it? Or do you send your badasses? Like, there should be a measure of pride in being like, in the place that is the most dangerous to our kind is where I not only work and fight, it's where I sleep, eat, and live. Right. The other tribes come into the city, fuck some shit up, and then leave. And the Gnawers come into the city, and they just stay there. They live behind enemy lines. They forage behind enemy lines. They survive behind enemy lines. And if you look at that from like a military type perspective, that's like paratrooping spec ops bullshit that like you're not supposed to be able to survive for an extended period of time in the heart of enemy territory, and that's where they make their life.
This is an interesting thing because locally I think we've been pretty spoiled by most of our Gnawers have almost always been Arun.
No, there was the Theurge.
There was a great Theurge. Gnawer Theurge. See, I almost did it.
Yeah,
almost.
Yeah.
But I'm saying Sewer Pipe was big and revised. Wade played a great Bone Noir Arun. It was recently as a discussion of can you be a Bone Noir Arun? Yes, of course you can.
Is that even functional? Is that even optional?
Yeah,
Like,
especially in the new system.
Well, why would people think that a bone noir Arun wasn't good? Let's try the opposite perspective.
Well,
why does it seem like they're not good?
Because it seems like there's a concept of them, and we're going to get to the crunch, I promise. But there seems to be the concept of them as always being like slightly ratty and at best artful dodgery, and like they're your buddy and slippery. The concept of, and it might be that some people want to avoid insert skin tone face.
Well,
and it might be a concept like they
even if it's not racism, it's still the magical homeless person that is loved by like Stephen King and other authors. That homeless people are magic.
Yeah.
And that they're in tune with the spirit of the city, man. And they
that one psychotic vet that everybody talks about.
Right,
like,
or Iron Fist does the same thing. Is that homeless people walk up, they plot dump, they're in cahoots with the spirits of the city. That it is
they know kung fu.
It is a stereotype, like, and it's or rather a trope. It is a trope. It is a trope in written fiction. It's a trope in film and anime.
John Wick too.
They all have them.
Yeah.
Is the homeless people? It's very much a throwback to the sort of the beggar clan kung fu movies. Sort of took that ball, and then all filmmakers and fiction writers just sort of ran with it. It's like, yeah, they all know each other and they're in a club and they probably know kung fu.
Well, it's because they're an outsider. They're an outsider, but they're one that you see all the time. So they're a normalized outsider, which means, what do they have going on? How are they different? They must have all sorts of weird secondary culture because we see them all the time, but they're not part of my culture.
Right, so they must have their own union and coolness. Otherwise, they're not sadness and constant reminders of our own callousness.
Yeah, so they're in a desperate attempt to not make them like reminders of how your society's failing. You exoticize them.
Right.
That is exactly
right. That's exactly right. Let's talk about merits. I think.
All right, so now that all right, so they're not jokes.
Mm-hmm.
They, considering what they do, they actually should be one of the most badass tribes that could be.
Mm-hmm.
You're living and functioning in the middle of enemy territory your entire life, and the different ways that their auspices in general can do them. Like you could play the Punisher Vigilante Philodox. Not an arm. The Punisher Vigilante Philodox, administering street justice. Like, if you...
I wish they were a little bit faster and looser with the familiarity rules with some of their powers, because, like, you really have to already know... No, I'm not saying the specific crunch. I mean, like, I'm just saying your general hunter characters need to, like, have already known the people they're hunting, which is kind of difficult.
Well, there are two things that I love, just looking at their merits, and if these are common themes with the Bone Gnawers, is the first priority of any Bone Gnawer is to survive, and they're really good at not dying.
Killing them should be hard, because if it was easy to kill them, they'd be gone.
Yeah, so Blessing a Mother Rat, pound for pound, might be the best of the 1-point tribal merits. It might be.
Expound.
All right, expand. All right. First of all, you're immune, not resistant, immune to mundane poisons, toxins, pollution, and radiation.
So does it still give you Weaver taint? Or Worm taint, I should say. Because there is no such thing as Weaver taint. We just
right, there's only Worm taint. No, it says mundane. But still, set that aside. Further, once per turn, when defending against an attack that would inflict more damage than the remaining health levels, you get a free retest, along with your normal willpower retest.
Yeah, this is one of the only... There's like only 2 or 3 places that really give you just another chop.
Yeah.
This is one of them where you're like, nope, I have another retest. And it's not just a buffed willpower retest, like a lot of those things actually are.
It's an additional one on top of it.
It's very specifically, this is just another chop. Mm-hmm. And that's pretty huge.
Keep the one you like. Stop.
I mean, Celestines have that.
This might be the closest thing we have left to Sidestep Death. Sidestep Death was an old an old Silverfang gift that lets you basically bamf away if you're about to get killed. Now this isn't nearly as good as that,
but in this much more deadly system without Aegis and all that bullshit.
I thought it was just Aegis. I mean, it was called Sidestep Death, but there was no bamf element.
Yeah, there was. You teleport direct. Just like if there was an AoE, you teleport right outside of it.
Oh, that was their logic for. But all it effectively did was just.
And it would move you. If there was attack nuke, you would be...
And this is free. There's no cost to it. It doesn't cost a Gnosis. It doesn't cost any
rage. No. I mean, the merit costs a merit point.
Well, 1 merit point.
But and you could do it once a turn, which is, as you point out...
I would say this is Duriger if you're going to be a Bone Gnawers.
Well, unlike Silent Striders, you get a 3-point where they get to win one thing once per game.
Right.
This is like... if you're on the ropes and people are swinging for serious ag, once you're at basically once you're at your
remember, you still have your
injured or wounded. Which one's worse?
Wounded is
Bruised.
It's bruised, wounded, and
in cap.
In cap.
It's just bruised, wounded. It's healthy, wounded, in cap.
Healthy, wounded, in cap.
So that's the in-cap track?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, anyway, once you're on that track effectively, you're just throwing 2 defensive retests on everything, which shifts the odds of combat, even if you're losing on traits, so wildly in your favor.
Plus, you have the innate ability to rage heal, too, on top of that.
Yeah, and you're regenning.
Yeah.
The whole time. I mean, if somebody's really beating the tar out of you.
It took a while with 2 silver fangs who didn't know what they were doing to kill this one bonar during one of the playtests we did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It took a while. Like we just and what he did was, simple action, I run. Standard action, I'm gonna change that for a run, and I'm just gonna keep running.
Well, and a lot of people are hunting for OTK effects, and this is insurance against that.
Yeah.
So.
Which is funny, because later they do kind of have one. They're very good at killing people.
Level 2. This is very flexible. Jury rigging. Spend 1 point of Gnosis. Spend a standard action. You can make a piece of equipment work for the next hour. You can damage their old equipment. Can be made to function as if it's mostly intact. Truck. If the truck has an engine and gasoline, it'll run for the next hour. Half the spark plugs are missing, and there's a 2-inch hole in the radiator. Using this power, you can assign 2 equipment qualities of your choice to the piece of equipment. Wow.
Other
Other than flashier masterwork, the ones you can give a shit about.
Yeah. And for the duration of the power, you cannot use the... Oh, I see. It replaces the qualities. This is almost as good as Fly Apart.
I'm actually going to say that I don't like that or Fly Apart when Conjure Tulpa Object, or even the Wendigo version of Conjure Tulpa Object, but it's made of ice.
Yes, but that won't give you a car.
Right, that's the only thing it's good for is vehicles, which, as we've pointed out, if you slap, explode.
Yep. Also, improvised weapon, same thing. You give it 2 weapon qualities of your choice, except for flashier masterwork.
Unless you start doing supportive, indestructible cars. That's something we do need to talk about at some point.
You make a nail gun as effective as a rifle, so you take a regular piece of equipment.
Yeah.
And for a Gnosis, you could make it into a rifle, or you could have Conjure Tulpa Object, which every Hamid and Ragabash has access to.
But that won't give you a gun.
No, it will. It will give you a gun.
Oh, right.
Doesn't it?
No. No, it's simple. It's a simple object.
Oh, well, it gives you swords.
Yeah.
Wait.
What?
There's nothing in improvised weapon that says that you can't put those qualities on something that's already a weapon.
Nope. It also doesn't say you can't put strange quality on it.
So you're gonna take a sword and then just
knife gun.
So no, but I mean you could take
chainsaw that shoots.
You could take a sword and then put weapon qualities on it.
Well, no, supernatural. Actually, strange composition might count as a supernatural quality.
Read improvised weapon.
Okay. You want me to read the whole thing?
Yeah.
Okay. Almost anything is a weapon in your hands. Activating jury rigging an improvised weapon allows you to give the weapon qualities, of a real weapon for the next hour.
This is brutal and armor piercing.
Yes. For example, you might make a nail gun that's effective as a rifle, a broom handle that works like a mace, or a piece of scrap metal that functions like a sword. When using the power, assign 2 weapon qualities of your choice. The chosen qualities must be vaguely logical for your improvised weapon to possess, and it cannot assign supernatural qualities or qualities that do not match the form or function of the weapon. Well, that's good.
Wait a second.
For example, can I make a baseball bat that functions like a pistol?
Pause. Baseball bat is essentially a weapon. It's a club.
No,
and clubs have. You could just be like, it's a baseball bat. It has 2 qualities.
Yeah.
Also, I'm giving it 2 qualities. Yeah. This baseball bat now has 4 qualities.
No, it replaces them.
No,
where does it say replace?
Oh wait, it does in the other one.
Thank you.
Wow, you're right.
Is that intentional?
Hang on.
Unless it says that the thing that you're doing this to cannot have been a weapon before, there's no reason why you can't add more qualities to stuff that is vaguely weapon-like a chair leg or a baseball.
I would say that would make it better as a 2-point merit, because right now it's still very underwhelming.
I can't say that that's the case, but you could make an argument for it.
There is nothing against it.
That's a question.
Why would I submit it to the rules team when I could just have people?
Oh no! Don't get me wrong. I tell players, follow the law of being a player. Do it so long as you can get away with it, and an ST stops you.
I can't believe you sons of bitches.
I'm a player too.
I'm not paid. I don't volunteer. I don't get VIP points. I'm here to be the loyal opposition. I stand for you, the everyman and woman or person.
We're in the players union, and even though I'm an AVST, I would still tell somebody I'm like,
you're getting management on
whatever. It's the same advice I give other people. Do it so long as until there's a ruling saying you can't. If it makes sense.
As long as you're not
are you
no, this is
are you airbud clausing this?
That's not written clearly.
That's not written.
And in which case, it's probably
if at any point it said non-weapon equipment, regular piece of equipment,
right?
And if it said any of that, you wouldn't hear a word out of my mouth. But what it says is improvised weapon. And I'll tell you what, if I can take a baseball bat, which I assure you I could beat you to death with,
Thank you.
And then I could add brutal and armor piercing to it, it is a killamajig. Yeah,
It's not really improvised at that point. It's just improved.
And incorrect equipment, which lets you scrape a random key until it fits a lock, or jury range a wrench to work on a bolt. That's toolboxy, literally toolboxy.
Yeah,
that's great.
It's also a 2-point merit. I mean, that's
all you have to do is carry a Swiss Army knife, and literally you can solve every problem that requires a tool. You don't need conjure toolable object. You're like, well, this has a pair of pliers. There's no way it'll fit a fire hydrant.
I just think
that doesn't
conjure
matter.
toolable objects is like really.
You just like it. You like saying tulpa.
You
That's
really
what it
do.
is.
No, I don't.
The three-pointer, I'm not. This is either amazing or depending on your. This is very based on your character concept. This lets you basically It's basically urban camo. As long as you are in a public area in an urban environment, you will be immune to mundane and supernatural perception abilities, tracking challenges, scrying, such as spirit's gaze. You just have to be not watched for a minute, so it's hard to use it to disappear. But if you're already just laying low, you lay low.
Yeah.
I mean, that seems really good. I'm not sure
This
it's
is
3
to
points
be
good.
the homeless person in Times Square observing the supernatural world unobserved.
Okay, what are our
If
fans and friends saying about improved weapon because it's amazing?
Can I get the...
We'll get you a cup, sweetie.
Thank you.
Oh, last sentence, they fixed that.
Did they?
Yeah, last sentence. Thank you, players.
What?
For the duration, you cannot use the improvised weapon's original qualities. So,
Yeah, so it's just 2. Okay, it's back to underwhelming.
Yeah.
I don't really like it. It can give you guns and cars.
Well,
I
this
just don't think that's worth.
actually, this is an important point as a player and storyteller. Read the power all the way through before you start judging it.
Wait.
Yeah.
That means any weapon I have can have whatever 2 qualities I need it to have at any point.
Yeah,
I can switch the qualities per situation. Hey, guess what? This baseball bat's now silver.
No, you can't be. You can't do silver.
Why?
You can't use qualities that don't match the form or function of the weapon, unless this baseball bat's already silver, in which case it's already silver.
Form or function of the weapon.
Yep. So form of the function so would be what it's composed of. So you can't change it.
Oh.
Wait, alright, so form of function of the weapon. So you can't make it brutal then, because the baseball bat can't be brutal.
That's not true. You can swing a baseball bat 2-handed.
Most people do. But a tennis
I
racket...
was gonna say almost definitionally.
A tennis racket couldn't be. So now
on
you
a
just,
backhand.
So now you just made the power worse.
This is vaguely logical, and don't get me wrong. I don't particularly.
Vaguely logical is fine. If I have an aluminum baseball bat, that's also a metal.
Until your ST says not to. I think it's underwhelming. If you try to squeeze into the borders of making it worthwhile, good for you.
I love finding niches.
Yeah, I mean their 1-point merit is just so stupid.
People who rat out my niches get stitches.
Wow.
There are certain mechanics that other people also realized and have been abusing.
What? You mean like the one we thought of?
Which
Our special? You know the one.
You're special?
which one?
Voltron, man.
No, other people have already
They've already gone on Voltron?
Yeah.
Good.
Everybody sort of realized that, like, oh my god, this has to be a thing. Because it's the most utterly powerful.
I'm just desperately looking for gifts. I always misplace them in the book.
You could just...
You can just use the bookmarks.
I could use the... if only there was an index. I'm so trained by years of White Wolf books to not look for the index. Hang on.
In any case, so...
I would just look at Bone Mar.
What did you...
I got it.
3 doesn't do it for me. 2 did it for me.
You
then
can hang a
away.
whole character on 3, though. 3 is something, if you want to be a spy,
Yeah.
you need it. Much like...
If you
you're
wanna
going
be
to do
the-
that Anansi build,
If you want to be the artful...
build,
If you want to be the artful dodger, you need 3.
Yeah.
2's okay if you literally want to... You know what? I'm going to be a Bonar kinfolk who's later bitten, and my deed name is literally Toolbox.
And it's funny because your bitten flaw won't really come up because it's beaten by your merit. People just don't know you're bitten if you're in a crowd. It's good enough.
And your 1 point... You are Rocky Balboa, the scrappy boxer that won't go down.
Yeah. You just keep going. You fight to your burger.
Yeah, now their gifts are not... I mean, they're not all combat, which I think is what
Well,
makes people...
nobody's tribe's gifts really are.
That's not true. Most of the tribe gifts are combat. It's almost pure combat all the way down.
I don't consider like
Mastery combat.
no. Why do you? Everybody
Go to Silverfang immediately.
Every time
You play a lot of Silverfangs.
I've played one ever.
Well, now you're at 2.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, once is just coincidence.
I've
Two's enemy action.
3 is